5 Premier League games on the way, and no matter what the results, it's always a Super Sunday when Alan Shearer and Micah Richards are here. I'm not going to be that nice all night. We're going to begin with West Ham Liverpool, where before the game, tributes were paid to Hammers legend Billy Bonds, who's died at the age of 70.
Not giving away anything to the other team as a gift, that is something we definitely not want to do today, because we've done that far too many times already this season. I saw a lot of things the same today. I saw us creating chances, which we didn't score. The biggest difference was that we didn't concede after 5 minutes, because if you concede after 5 minutes, you normally play much more open than when it's 0-0 or you're 1-0 up.
You would expect Liverpool to be quite nervous at 1-0, given that they've not been in a good place recently. And Lucas Paqueta, I can only describe it, gets himself sent off.
Look, I'm not going to go much further. I understand your question, but allow me to speak with Lucas first and try to understand why. I think even with one man less, the boys give it a fight. And let me just say, the spirit, the desire was there in a day that was very, very sad for us as a club.
Obviously, if you leave Mo Salah out of a Liverpool starting lineup, it's going to be talked about. What was your thinking there?
Now we play indeed a lot of games. In 10 days we play 4. I think there's a lot of talk about Liverpool every time I leave someone out. If it's Alexander Isak or Paqueta or it's Florian Wirtz. And now it's with Mo Salah. And these players deserve this because they are so quality players. And Mo has been so important for the club and will be very important for us as a club. Wednesday we play again, Saturday we play again, Tuesday we play again. So let's see what the team selection is on Wednesday.
You'd scored in the League Cup this season, but it's your first Premier League goal for Liverpool.
Yeah, of course. I've been waiting for it and chasing it, and sometimes it takes longer than you expect. But yeah, happy to be able to score a goal and help on the way to the win today.
Well, the reaction from Alex Isak, probably similar to the reaction across Liverpool, which was that of relief rather than, unmitigated joy in terms of getting that result. You watched him at Newcastle at his very best. Where is he on that journey at Liverpool?
Well, it's about getting the very best from him, which at times he's going to need help from his teammates. He has to do better, obviously. We've not seen as much as we thought. But today, I think we've seen it's a very much work in progress, some really positive signs, but also signs where it can definitely improve with his teammates, understand of what he needs to make his game better, and you have to be able to do that. I think this is a really good ball from Wirtz, and I think he's certainly not up to speed to what we've seen early on in the game. You'd expect him to make that run and to get on the end of it. As I said, there were some positives. He does really well there in getting the ball out. The ball then comes in, and he's in the right place. It's a decent opportunity, but you have to say that's a good save from the goalkeeper. This next one, he has every right to moan, shout, scream. That has to come in first time. There's no need to take a touch there. It's a great ball to whip in. All right, it doesn't come in first time. It has to then come in a second time with the left foot. Otherwise, you're doing the forward no good whatsoever. It's a really good opportunity to get the ball in for a forward who needs to be fed. Now, okay, they work it really well again in terms of being patient, and again, forget taking a touch. That passes on first time, and then he takes the touch, which allows then West Ham that split second to get the defender into place, and it turns out to be not a problem for West Ham in the end. Same thing again. I think that's a good run. And if he doesn't get it the first time, then he has to get it the second time. Again, that ball has to come in. And then the same thing again, you can see him having a moan up, and absolutely right. And this is what happens. This is how deadly he can be. If you get the balls in at the right time, at the right pace, he works the space really well, doesn't do a lot to create it. Sometimes the standing still is the best part, but that is a fantastic finish. That is what he is all about. But as I said, he needs sometimes his teammates to help him out. And today, with that ball, yes, but there are so many times where the ball can come in earlier for him and go in behind.
One of the teammates who wasn't available to help him on the pitch today was Mohamed Salah, who spent the game on the bench. Arne said it's because they've got 4 games in 10 days. They've got 14, 15 outfield players. There's going to be some rotation. That's what he has to say. And he said there's a fuss no matter who he leaves out.
Yeah.
But it's Mo Salah, so there's going to be more noise.
There's always going to be a big talking point with him being left out. But in terms of form, then he can't really complain. I think Ekitike can complain in terms of being form and him not playing. But when it's a big decision from the manager, as it's always going to be with the likes of Mo Salah, they have to go out and they have to perform and they have to win the game, and they've done that today.
Lucas Paqueta sent off for persistently arguing with the referee. In commentary, it was called ridiculous behaviour. Paqueta responded to this on X and said it's ridiculous to have your life and career affected for 2 years without any psychological support from the federation. Perhaps this ridiculous behaviour is just a reflection of everything I've had to endure, and it seems have to continue enduring. I'm sorry if I'm not perfect. Now, this is in response to the 2-year investigation, at the end of which all charges he was cleared of in July of spot fixing charges, and he clearly feels that he's not had the support to help him to get over what's clearly been a very difficult situation. But there is also, Micah, a responsibility to stay within the laws of the game.
Yeah, I mean, to be booked twice for dissent, what you've said there, Kel, is totally right, and he deserves more support, in his opinion. But one thing you can't do is let your teammates down for dissent, because we know how good of a player he is. We know how much we've talked him up in the past. He can really make the difference for this team. To get sent off for this, yeah, it's frustrating. You can tell, have that over your head for so long and potentially could have left West Ham in that time. You can see he's frustrated. But when you put on the shirt and you're there with your teammates, you've got to give everything. And I think that was just a silly decision.
And he's just come back from a ban as well for 5 yellow cards, hasn't he?
5 yellows, yeah.
Correct.
Madness.
Really lovely tributes to Billy Bonds, who had a very, very long career at West Ham, played right into his 40s. In fact, he played so long that you actually played against him.
I did. I played against him way back in 1988, which was for his very, very last game for West Ham. I made my debut early April, then played against West Ham and Billy back in the back end of April. So, I mean, what a guy, what a character, what a career! 799 games. Just unbelievable. 2 FA Cup lifts in there as well. So it's incredible. Yeah, condolences go to
there'll have been so many incredible stories told about him at West Ham today. They do that kind of occasion so well.
Points then for the reigning champions, which we'll talk about in a moment. But a first Premier League goal at last for Liverpool for Alexander Isak.
Does it feel like a weight off your shoulders, that first Premier League goal now?
Yeah, of course. I'm aware that it's been a long time coming, and I've been trying to get back to my best form, and I'm still on the way, but I'm happy to have that goal.
Is it something that has been weighing on you, and do you feel almost a release now that could be you up and running, that you have one on the board?
I think it's a mix. Of course, the most important, the best feeling today is that we win the game. That's the best way to get a good spirit within the group, and that's helpful for the individual as well. But yeah, of course, I'm a striker, so scoring goals will always help me.
And of course, as Arne was telling me even last week, that he was miles off playing football on the day he signed, but he'd gone over 6 hours in the Premier League for his new club with that big price tag without scoring a goal. So how big is that for him today?
It's certainly big, huge for a striker. When it doesn't score, he's never happy. So, and also considering what is going on at Liverpool, the pressure that builds on you is even bigger. Also, all the controversy behind the movement, and they certainly didn't help his case. And obviously, if, today's goal will help a lot. It will ease the situation.
Honestly, Steve, I think that he'll have a big sigh of relief on the coach back up to Liverpool and getting that goal. And you know what? It's a beautiful goal, beautiful finish. You're just hoping that Liverpool can find it back, find their cohesion back, because he is a top striker, and you could tell with the way he took the chance. He's very nonchalant. How he took the chance, and somebody that the way he acted in the summer, didn't make too many friends, but if he's going to continue to score goals like this and get Liverpool back to where they were as champions, when you look at it from this angle, that's precision. Is he going to get them back to there? Then he's going to need to be finishing like he has been finishing, like we've seen, and finishes like that.
Lovely finish.
No, absolutely. It was the reaction on a very good striker. Quick on the feet and also very precise. It wasn't easy to put the ball where
nice
he put
contact.
it. Yeah.
Because he's joined the club far from fit and seen in the last 7 or 8 games in a very difficult spell.
It is a difficult spell, but I think he brought it on himself. I think that whatever's going to happen with Newcastle, you stay, you train through the pre-season, you hope that the agents and the clubs can sort it out, but you train, you make yourself fit, you make yourself available. So when he goes to Liverpool, they don't have to leave him out, so then the pressure builds, especially look what Liverpool's happening to Liverpool. He could have been fit, ready to go, maybe scored goals like Ekatike to take Liverpool out of this, but he wasn't because he refused to train. So he probably lost a lot of friends doing that, but then they know that he's capable of scoring goals like this, and it's going to be interesting to see how many people he can pull back.
Certainly is. Well, of course, after 9 defeats in 12 games in all competitions going into this game against West Ham, Liverpool's worst run, incidentally, since 1953, Arne Slot made a huge call today, and that was, for the first time in 54 Premier League games, not to start Mo Salah.
Every time when we play a game, when I don't play Florian Wirtz, when I don't play Alexander Isak, when I don't play Paqueta, when I don't play Mo Salah, it's about that, which is normal because they're all outstanding players, and Mo has had an unbelievable career here at this club and will have a very good future at this club because he's such a special player. 4 games in 10 days with only 14 to 15 outfield players available for us. Then you have to decide once in a while to make a certain lineup, and you try to pick the best lineup for every single game. And today, with the way they set up, with a fullback that's constantly very high and a winger that's constantly inside, I thought that this could help the team. But like I said, he's been so important for this club and will be important for this club in the future.
Well, with your managerial hat on, he's given his explanation there, but how big a call was that from him today?
Well, I think for the media it's big because for everyone like us.
Yeah.
Because
but for a manager, it's bold, isn't it?
Yeah, for a manager, it can be, but I think what he said is right. They played so many games, and sometimes you can decide also to give a rest to an important player. And I think it might be good also for Momo to stay one. You will be a little bit more anger, more motivation.
I was going to say,
probably.
he might not see it that way.
Yeah, no, he won't like. I'm sure that you didn't like to be dropped. I was the same, but then sometimes he provokes a good reaction from the player as well. Sometimes you have to come out of your comfort zone, get upset, get good energies, and then restart.
I mean, this is the player of the year we're talking about here.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's not kind of panning out for him this season like we've seen him start the seasons. He's normally gets his 20 Premier League goals a season. Doesn't seem like that's going to happen this season. But I think that what Arne Slot did there, under the pressure he's under, with what Liverpool are going through at the moment, to make that call was a massive call. But it was against the West Ham side that he probably fancied his chances against. But you couldn't really go in and saying Liverpool are definitely going to beat West Ham the way they're playing. But he took a chance, he rolled the dice and they won. So you can't really look at Mo. Mo can't really come out and act like, how comes I weren't playing? You just have to take that on board and get ready for the next game. And when he plays the next game, show them what he's capable of.
That's the key.
That's
the headline's going to be less because Liverpool have returned to winning ways and they've won without Mo Salah.
And yes, and it was, most of all, they won a game and they needed to win a game with Salah or without Salah. But obviously for him, it would be an opportunity to, as I said, recharge, get a little bit more upset if you want to be upset. But I would say energy is ready for the next time, because that is the most important thing.
And it seems strange because if you'd said back in August, especially with the way we're winning games, right, when they win at West Ham 2-0 in November, that's going to be massive for Liverpool. Everyone was like, what on earth are you on about? But it was massive for Liverpool today to stop the rot.
It was, because if they didn't, then they're starting to go into what's the manager, are we looking for a new manager, what's going on? We got, are we going to sell Salah, what's going on? Everything starts to seep out, you know what I mean? And those are the questions that come. So they will look back. Hopefully it will be something that Liverpool can use as in respect to the springboard going forward, Steve. But it's a massive result for Liverpool. You know, it's a really big result for
and
Liverpool.
to get the clean sheet, Righty, because as we've seen, when they've gone behind, it's been so easy to play against and leaking goals recently.
Yeah, and that's something that we didn't see last season, even the season, but I can't remember ever seeing that with Liverpool. But for some reason this season it's not working out as well as they'd like it to. But that win will probably help them to get the confidence to go again. But, you know, a team, if I'm going to go and play against Liverpool now, whoever, I'd still fancy myself. You have to put Liverpool in a position, Gianfranco, where they have to prove that they can do it to you. You don't make it easy for them, because that's where they're struggling at the moment. Don't make it easy for them. Like Paqueta getting sent off, it kind of makes it easy for them. Don't make it easy for Liverpool.
I must ask you, as a creative player, about Florian Wirtz, put back in today after injury, got the Man of the Match award, had a hand in the build-up there to Isak's goal. Is he a player you've obviously seen in Europe, but eventually you think will be a success in the Premier League?
Well, the quality of the player is not in doubt, because we all know what he can do. We saw his abilities, and I don't think it's a problem of the player. I think it's the whole Liverpool that is gone in a moment of unsettlement. And obviously, it happens. It happens to me many years ago when I moved from Naples to Parma. I got to Parma, they were doing fantastically well. I got into the team, and I was scoring, but the team was going bad. Yeah. And all the responsibility was me, because I was the new player. I think it's a similar situation. The value of the players is not in doubt. Liverpool is going through a difficult situation. When everybody is gonna settle, I think he's going to show the value of his players. It's not that he is responsible for what everything is happening at Liverpool.
It's unfortunate for him at the minute, because like for him to come to the Premier League, it's massive, it's big, it's worldwide news. He's come for a lot of money, and like Gianfranco said, his ability is not in doubt. But then you have to try and come in and you have to get your feet, you have to find your feet. And obviously, if it was a Liverpool of last season, he comes in and he slips in brilliantly. But then ideally, you want him to come into a winning team. They were, but unfortunately, at the moment, they can't quite get their self going.
Yeah, I think Liverpool, you were saying, it's today they scored 2 goals, and that is very important. But I think it's more important that they didn't concede. Because Liverpool has always been a team, even with Klopp, they score many goals all the time. But what is the anomaly is not that, is that they are conceding too much. Yeah. And this is something that not even Liverpool, with all his ability and his strength going forward, can afford.
Now, Liverpool won the game in an emotional atmosphere at London Stadium, because West Ham announced prior to kick-off the death of the man they call Mr. West Ham, Billy Bonds, who has passed away aged 79. Played more games for the club than anybody else, just one shy of 800. These are the tributes paid to him before kick-off, and his number 4 shirt laid by the current West Ham captain, Jared Bowen, player and, of course, manager and member of the backroom staff as well. And, of course, at the stadium, a stand is named after Billy Bonds as well. And all our thoughts are with Billy's family and, of course, those West Ham and football fans that loved him so much. And of course, Gianfranco, you're a former West Ham manager. You know all about the legacy of Billy Bonds, and you met him many times.
Yeah, I came across a few times with him when I was the coach at West Ham. Very nice person, a gentleman. And well, we are all very saddened to what happened to him, and our thoughts are with the family. Honestly, he came across, you know, he played in a different time to me, but it struck me how kind he was, how encouraging he was to me also, because it wasn't a great time when I met him for me as a manager there, but he was kind, and I really was very happy with that.
Yeah, you just missed each other as players, but you did play a few times against Billy Bonds' teams when he was West Ham manager.
Yeah. You know, he was, because my brother's a West Ham fan, through our dear friend John Denmark. My brother supported West Ham. Billy Bonds was the name that was always mentioned, obviously Bobby Moore before him, but like Billy Bonds came and kind of took over the mantle of how Bobby Moore was, in how he's a gentleman, plays fair, played hard, you know what I mean, a leader, proper leader. He was that guy. And, you know, like I say, you know, just to meet him a couple of times, like I've met him, and like Gianfranco said, he's a gentleman, he's a wonderful guy. He epitomises everything our professionals should